tiene su final. Nada dura para siempre.
Are you enjoying the serenade, Jose?
Tenemos que recordar.
Yeah, sure.
Wait for the church bells. For the sake of his sorrowful passion, have mercy on us and on the whole world. Por su dolorosa pasión, ten misericordia de nosotros y del mundo entero. Boom! I did it off memory. I didn't even read it.
Remember that my English is not very good looking, but I am very glad to say that. Enjoy the show.
What's up, guys? It is another episode. We are at episode 8. I ended the last one talking about numbers and stuff like that. 8 is the biblical number of grace. So thank you for God's grace. We've made it to this point. Boom. And
It's the Catholic fun fact of the episode.
it's also the number of Mary. You know what I'm saying? So shouts out to Mary. It's May, the month of Mary, and the bishops have consecrated the entire country to her. In fact, we need it. You know what I'm saying? Brother Mary, hook a brother up.
Need a mother's love.
We should start having like branded Bible facts.
This episode is our last episode was red light, green light, 1, 2, 3, and it's a little fun, lighthearted kind of episode. Just kind of talking about our childhood and ways that we can connect in that level, right? This one, we're going to fast forward a little bit. We're going to go to our teenage years and talk about our teenage years. But the name of this episode is Bumper Cars. It took us to the 7th and 8th episode to not mess up announcing them. But we getting there. You know what I'm saying? Progression. So yeah, bumper cars. Because teenage road is kind of like a bumpy, rocky. You know what I'm saying? It seems like everybody and everything is in your way. And sometimes you purposely trying to be in other people's way too. Just because, man, I look back, man, I was an angry teenager. Like I was angry for I had good reasons, but there's times I was angry for no reason because I was angry about stuff that didn't even, you know what I'm saying, didn't even relate. So yeah, all right. So bumper cars, Josue.
You
En el nombre del Padre, del Hijo, del Espíritu Santo.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Lord, I would like to thank you for allowing us to continue this. May all those who are listening in be touched. May all those who are suffering right now through this pandemic be touched by your saving grace. May this all end soon. May we unite more. May we become stronger in our faith, and may we continue to be loving and to continue to be trying to be like Christ. And with that, I'd like to pray, glory be to the Father, to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
All right. Bumper cars, bumpy teenage years. What did that look like for you?
What is this?
I'm just looking at him trying to make sure you don't spill the coffee.
No, I got it, man. I'm smooth with it.
Floating in the screen, and I'm like, what's going on? What's going on with your Zoom?
I don't know. I think, first off, for me, I feel like bumper cars was like my favorite ride to go on growing up. Like, it was the closest thing to driving at that point.
I was a jerk. I would hit people on purpose, like, yeah, I'm gonna get you.
Yeah, you ever like put like, you know that those things only went like 5 miles per hour, but you put like, you used to just push the gas button all the way down just thinking that you were going to hit harder than what you actually did. Or you used to go like that and scoot the car so that you would hit that person with the force too. Yeah, those were the days.
Yeah.
So,
I wish my real car was a bumper car.
Kind of like what you were saying before. It was like a rocky time. There was times where I was like super happy, times where I was like super down. Times where I was super proud to be Catholic and like I would come to church and serve, and then other times I was like, yeah, God clearly ain't hearing me, so he ain't real. And I would question my faith a lot. Not so much that I didn't believe in him, I just felt like, yeah, like this is not everything that people make it out to be. And then I started, I think at that point I became angry, and when I became angry, it was just like kind of just went downhill from there, and it took a while to pick that back up.
Yeah,
I can relate. I feel like as a girl, like like there's so many emotions as a teen. Like, enjoy Chi-Chi now, Brandon, because it's gonna get real. And like, I think a lot of high school was like, are y'all good over there?
Yeah, I think her headphones had bumper car moments. You know what I'm saying? It's just yeah.
But yeah, like I would say, like I do feel like it was very bumpy as a teenager. It was hard also, like, because I'm a first generation, so like for me a lot of the things was culturally things were hard, because like my parents really didn't understand, like, why are you doing this, what's the big deal, or like, why can't you do things the way we want you to do them, you know? And it was just like, it was hard to think like, yo, yeah, like I'm Dominican, but I'm also American, and that really was prevalent more as a teenager than as a child. And I also like do say that in my teen years, like my faith is what saved me, because like I mentioned previously, like it was something personal and it was something that was mine, that I could always like kind of run away to. So I really do feel like there was highs and lows, but like I do know that God was in every part, but I only know that because I have hindsight, you know? But like as a teenager, everything is so permanent. Like you think like this is like, you're upset now, you think it's gonna be like that forever. And that's a mentality that like it's really hard to grow out of. But I feel like that's why we're in those bumps, and like why the highs are so high and the lows are so low, you know?
It's a self-discovery moment too. I think in general, what you're saying culturally, but I think in general as a whole, it's a self-discovery moment. So, yeah.
Elsewhere?
For me, my teen years were, if you guys think I was shady now, imagine that. High school was something else. That's like freshman, sophomore year, I started off like, you know, slowly but surely. But like junior, senior year, it was a wrap. And like, I even told my CCD kids this, like the person I was like a few years ago isn't the same person I am now. Like, you know, that's the whole point of life. Like you're supposed to progress. You're supposed to change. You make mistakes. It's okay. You're supposed to accept them and learn how to change from that. So I tell them that as well. It was a different mindset. I thought being petty was like the best way to solve situations, but it really wasn't. Really stirred the pot with a lot of people. Good time. Not really, but and then like even at home, like I would just be like frustrated. Like if it wasn't my way, like it was just like, but why? Like questioning everything, and I was just a hard teenager. Very like every little thing had to be like, but why? Why can't I do it this way? Why can't I do this? Why can't I do that? And like I didn't really realize, like, you know, like, okay, that makes sense. Like now I see like, okay, that made more sense. Like, you know, it was for my safety, or if it was X, Y, and Z. Like, you know, in the moment you're like very focused on like what you want, very tunnel vision, and you're not really thinking of like the different outcomes. You're just thinking of what potentially could be, because that's what you want it to be. It was very, very rocky. Yeah. Here we go. You're muted.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you can talk now.
Just
Yeah,
unmuted.
she's just unmuted.
Are we muted? Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't even notice. I'm just over here like.
Well, because Mamita was like banging pots in the background. You know what I'm saying? So, shouts out, Mamita.
I didn't. I'm in the
like,
same room, and I didn't notice that. Like I was just hearing yeah, and I'm like, I didn't notice the whole pot paying thing. Yeah. So anyway, high school sucked. Yeah, like when I was younger, I was kind of like to myself. I didn't really break out to my shell till I was probably like 15, 16 around there. Yeah, I didn't really have a lot of friends at high school. I really kept to myself. I remember going through your freshman, I was a loner. as a sophomore, I started getting a little group of friends here, a little group of friends there. When I was a junior, I went from being like a little nerd to like now notebook bag kid. You remember back when having notebook bag was the rage? I used to carry a single pen in my pocket, and I had my group of like 3 friends that I used to run around with back in the day. And then I started like 15, 16 when I started to college. Once again, went back to isolation, but I had my church friends always. But I feel like when I was younger, I was more mature than I am now. Like I was really like more mature. Like I knew how to think in the future and stuff like that. And now I'm just like, yo, you know what? We got one life to live, so I might as well enjoy it. I'm gonna have every laugh I can. So I feel like as I grew up, I went downward in mentality, if that makes sense.
So them chemicals in the lab, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, that stuff gets to you after a while. Those fumes messes up your brain. 1, 2, 3, Vanessa
kind of started it off, yeah.
Oh, right, Brandon.
Yeah.
Wow, good job of paying attention.
That's why I said a question mark, like Vanessa, like you went.
Yeah. For me, now, like I said, I mean, I when I look back, I wouldn't have said that at the time. I don't think I realized it, but I spent like all of high school angry. You know what I'm saying? Like, even the times where I was quote joking around, like, nah, you know what I'm saying? Like that wasn't, and I mean, I think there was a lot for me. It was like, the pressure of like, I was always the person that everybody had to rely on. So, you know what I'm saying? Like I was older brother, oldest grandchild. My parents divorced freshman year of high school. Now, like, you the man of the house, take care of everything. My mom went back to school. Not only am the man of the house, but now I got to, like, cook dinner and fend for me and my sister. Then I started working an after-school job to do that because I had to pay my own cell phone bill and, like, all that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? And in that sense. Then, I mean, just, like, running around the Bronx and kind of what you said, Heidi, about like the cultural affiliation is like, I didn't know what to classify myself as, you know what I'm saying? Cause it's like, I'm Puerto Rican, Dominican, have never visited either of the islands, grew up here, don't speak the language, grew up, you know what I'm saying, in a multicultural environment. Oh, but what's wrong with you? You're supposed to speak Spanish. Oh, but you too light-skinned and you hanging with all the black dudes. Oh, but you rap and you play ball. But you know what I'm saying? And just like kind of finding myself between those worlds, there was a lot that I felt like it was always like there was like, one, like something to prove. And then 2, like, and I would even say something to prove that like just as like a young man, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, like trying to hold your own and like prove who you are. Like there was a lot of that I think I got myself into situations I probably shouldn't have. No, not probably, I shouldn't have. But like you said, like faith saved you. And yeah, thanks be to God, towards the end of my teenage years is when was the beginning of me kind of like really like getting connected to youth ministry. But on the real, like we think this is like a catchphrase that people say, like hip hop saved my life. Like, no, facts. Like if there wasn't for like, one, not only the artistic expression that I was able to kind of like vent and like get the therapy through in that sense, but 2, the community I was able to be connected to, because like some of my closest friends, my brothers to this day, and in fact, like, so my first years of freshman, sophomore, and junior, I went to Catholic school, but it wasn't, you know what I'm saying, because of that. It was because my mom, academic option, because I got a scholarship. And like the crew that I was with, me, V, like literally is our little rap crew. And we all were like, came from like broke families, you know, problems with like parents or like older brother in jail, or, you know what I'm saying, like my best friend to this day, his pops died when he was really, really younger person. And we were all like going through something, and like rap was our way of expressing that. And like our brotherhood was another way of expressing that, you know? And I never realized this till years later. Another reason why I was angry all the time was because I was hungry most of the time. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like on the real, like, again, like going home, I didn't know what was going to be for dinner unless I made it. You know what I'm saying? And then that's how I learned how to cook. My mom taught me. I knew how to make like arroz con gandules and all that type of stuff eventually. And then like we were struggling financially even with that. So it was like less. But then even going to school during the day, like Catholic school, that time, I don't know if like y'all had this, but I had to pay for lunch. We couldn't pay for no dang lunch. You know what I'm saying? And so just literally be hungry. And we were those kids walking around.
It's a scam, yo. It's a scam.
Yo, was walking around all day like, yo, bro, you got a quarter? Yo, man, yo, the dudes is chilling with like the Mauries and like being the fresh guys. Yo, I know you got $1. And
Let me hold the dollar. Let me hold the dollar.
Exactly. We would come back together and we would put like literally, there's about eight of us, and we would pull it all together. Like, how much did we make today? All right, bet. Yo, and some days it's like, yo, we made 125, which is just enough to get a batch of fries, and all 8 dudes we eat from that batch of fries. And like I look back and I like we would add like ketchup and barbecue sauce and all that stuff. I never realized the science behind it because I was like, oh, it's filling me up more. I was adding calories to it by adding junk. You know what I'm saying?
Yo,
like
that barbecue sauce hits different.
I never thought about it. Like, you know what I'm saying? There was times I would literally just drink ketchup packets. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, boom.
25 calories right there.
And so like, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of that put me in a place where just, yeah, you know, when you angry, you hungry, and you kind of desperate, like you just, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, there's no like filter. There's no like, and then on top of that, the pressure, like I said, of like feeling the weight of all those areas and things at that time. And so, and I'm just thankful, man, God showed up in all his different ways. One, again, through youth group, but I think of like my mentor, Jive Poetic, who just saw some knucklehead kids in the after school program. And I realized this years later, I was like, yo, that was my youth minister. You know what I'm saying? Like, even like when my son was born at 18, like Jive went out of his way to go to the hospital. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that. Like when everything was going on, like people went out of their way. And yeah, like it's just crazy how in the midst of all that, like those things happen. Like I said, the brotherhood, those people that came through, God just made it happen, you know, because it was bumpy. And like, if I'm gonna say bumper cars, like I was saying about the bumper cars too, like I was trying to be a menace to like other people too, because I felt that type of way. And so, yeah.
I feel like teen years are so formative that like when you're forced to grow up that fast, it's like it hits you hard, but it's like you don't have time to think about it because you're like trying to survive basically.
I feel like you grow so exponentially in that point, right? Because think about it, from 13 to 19, those 6 years, you change completely. As opposed to when you're 30 and 36, you're almost like right around the same person. You know what I'm trying to say? Like those 6 years, so young, mean so much. Like everyone glows up, hopefully. Your taste is different. You go through mad style changes. You know, your vision of what you want changes too. Like most kids, when you start off at 13, it's like, oh, I wanna sit around and play video games all day. I don't want to do this. And then by the time you're 19, you're already halfway done through college-ish. You're like, oh, I want to be a whatever, social worker, criminal justice person, whatever. Like what you want and your goals change so differently. Like your priorities change.
Crazy that like I was talking to a few people and specifically 2 people. One, it was like kind of negative where they're like, you're not the same person you were when you were 15. And it's like, no, I'm not. Thank God I'm not. Because if I was still that 15-year-old, like it would be way worse than it is now. And then another person was like, wow, like, you know, the last time that we really spoke like this, you were really young, and like I'm shocked at how like articulate you've become. And I'm like, yo,
growth.
like I went to school.
Growth. You got an education. You got an education.
Yeah, I'm like I graduated college, you know, I should get a little credit for that. But yeah, like I really feel like if you're still thinking about me as someone from 5 years ago, like even 20-year-old Heidi, like completely different person.
I think that's a Drake quote.
Yeah.
No.
And I mean, shouts out, like I said, Job, but I mean, I could talk about like Mr. Sturgis, who looked out, got me in the program that I was in. Shouts out to like Adam and Steven Jacobs, like Jewish dudes who ran this nonprofit and like helped take me under the wing. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like I could go down the list. And like Sister Mary Eileen, who was when I first got involved with the youth ministry, like Sister went out of her way too. When I really think about it, like Sister would like show up at events at the school. The only nun in the building, like public school, you know what I'm saying, would show up. Because even when I went, like I was a part of like this like music like battle competition, like she was there in support. And so like, you know what I'm saying, like all of that kind of stuff. And it was just funny because everybody's looking. Yo,
And
fact.
vibing.
Even afterwards, when I'm like
Specific.
18 and I'm starting to do like put together these little events and stuff. Like I remember like we put together this outside event, completely secular event, and like sister showed up and like it was this event called Generation of the Free. If y'all know, like this was ASAP Rocky's first performance at this event. You know what I'm saying? And like we were talking about, like it was just literally free expression. Like it was open mic, everything. And some people were like, yo, freedom means I could do whatever the bleep I want, right? And I remember like sister was there just sitting there in the back and like, you nobody care, there's a little nun sitting in the back of the room. You know what I'm saying? Like it was art, so there's paintings, and one of the artists decided to express himself that freedom was a broken contraceptive. You know what I'm
Device.
saying? Hanging over a cup.
Okay.
That was his expression of freedom. And like sister walked into that environment. And I remember later that week she was just like, hey, want to talk about, and like no judgment, no nothing. And she was like, hey, one person said this. I was just thinking, she was like, yeah, in one instance we say that's freedom, but doesn't that mean you're just a slave to your own passions? Cool. Never left me. You know what I'm saying? But I would have never had the
You got
opportunity to
bars.
have that
You
dialogue.
on the track?
Yeah, and like I mean, so that stuff, man. Like, shouts out to like the adults that really do care and step into these teens' worlds because they need it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What's wrong here?
So, yeah.
Switching
So, I was watching Avatar. Now that I say I was watching Avatar the other day, and I was thinking like he went through all this stuff when he was 13 years old. Like, yeah, deal with like genocide or whatever, and he had to do growth, right? But they all have powers in the show. So, if you had any superpower, what would it be and why?
Does it have to be one?
Yeah, you only get one. You get the one. You can't do the Superman like I could fly really strong and have heat beams now. You get one.
And ice breath.
Ice breath.
And yeah.
I forgot about that power. Sometimes.
Yep.
I guess for me it'd be like I could run really fast.
Oh, you be the Flash?
I'd be the fast, like I'd be out.
Barry Allen.
For me, I think I'd want to be able to read people's minds. You know I was gonna say that?
No, that's
Oh.
literally mine. I've said that for years.
I feel like I don't know.
Read or control.
I don't
I
care.
wanna not so much care what people think. I just think, well, I don't know. I
want to
feel
know what
like
they really do.
I'm always that person that's an overthinker. So I feel that if at least I can know what's going on in someone's mind, I probably won't sit there. I mean, I'll probably still overthink because I'll be like, why are they thinking that? Or like, what did I do for them to think like that? But I feel like I'd rather know what's going on than have to guess what's going on. You know, so I feel like I would always want to read people's minds. I mean, that's my top like one. The other one is to be invisible so that I know what people are doing behind my back. But you know.
That's a reason.
I swear, like,
I was legit about to say that.
So yeah, that's fine.
I'm stuck between two. Josue, what's yours?
I'm kind of stuck between two as well. Like, it's either invisibility or like having like magical powers. Like,
To
I don't
do
know. I've
what
always
though?
been.
To do
What
what though?
magical
Like,
powers?
yeah, like what magic? This is all magical powers, bro.
Like Sabrina the
I
Teenage
don't
Witch, or like
Sabrina, that was a good show.
the
He
little
wants to have
cat?
power
Yeah,
to do
me-
whatever he wants to do.
Right? Like, can I just have
Then if he
magical
wants to
powers?
shut you up, he'll shut you up. If he wants to run fast, he runs fast. That's what he wants.
Cool.
All right,
Or,
cheater.
Like, just to be like invisible.
Am I
'cause, like,
frozen? Oh, cool.
you good now. Like invisibility to the, and it has to be the good invisibility, because there be people who go invisible but they still got their clothes showing. Like, no, like you be,
Wow, he's like, I want the full thing.
right, like
She
you
said, I
can't.
want the Sue Storm out here. I want to be like, I want the Sue Storm.
But,
Just,
like-
boop, everything goes invisible.
Like, I could just walk out, like, you know, like I don't gotta be bothered by anybody. You know, there's those days where you just want to be alone and people just randomly just be coming to you. So you just turn invisible real quick and call it a day. or like Vanessa said, like, you have a feeling this person's talking about you. You turn invisible real quick, and boop, you get what you need to get.
I think it'd be.
and be like,
That's crazy, y'all.
I think it'd be fine to turn other things invisible. Like you start messing with people, like you turn their hand invisible. They'd be like, "Where's my hand?"
oh, is that what?
That's
You know what?
we just changed the game, Rigo.
Yeah, you really did.
The one
You
reason
seen that
that I
challenge
was
where they would do that to little kids? Then they would act like they were invisible and the little kids would start crying.
Oh my
Journey.
God,
So messed
that's
up.
so terrible.
That's my
Journey.
favorite video on the internet. Journey.
Journey. I'm right here.
I was gonna say, I was gonna say invisibility, and the only reason I was gonna say it is because I want to be invisible to be able to mess with other people. Like
Start lifting stuff. Like, yo.
off the thing, start making things float. But
There's gonna be mad houses for sale because Heidi.
right, if I want a house, I could do that. But then that's like really childish, So I'm gonna change it. I know what I want to be. I want shape-shifting powers like Maui.
Oh, like
Like
Maui.
who? Like who?
From Moana.
Moana.
From
Oh,
Moana.
I was
I
thinking
didn't watch that movie.
Mystique from X-Men. Mystique.
There you go. That's better.
Yes, her too. Pero I like shape-shifting, but not just animals.
No, Mystique.
Mystique does people.
Yeah. Okay.
Like you could turn into Josue right now.
Because what if I want to be J-Lo for a day? Or Cardi?
Ready for the block.
Yeah, now I would say
I
now.
could do that.
Now it would be. I've said the mind reading thing for the past couple years, but when I was a teen, I wanted to be Wolverine. You know what I'm saying? Like I just.
So you can live forever, or which power? You can't get all of them. Like
So
you can get the live forever, the health, the instant health.
the instant
Nah,
health
he
was
wants
the
the-
main
he wants
one. It was the main one, and okay, to rewind back to what we were saying, I was about I want to say I was 18. I think I was 19 actually, and I was at this event, Circle Session, and it birthed a mixtape called Weapon X that I had done, and it was all my teen years I was trying to be Wolverine, act like I could heal and not deal with things. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even catch that.
That's what
You
I
know
want
that?
from Wolverine.
Yeah.
You need a haircut? Pull up. Fine. Continue. I'm hungry.
Give Rigo a shape up.
Quarantine.
It was a nice question.
Yeah. But yeah, that would have been, especially the healing ability. If I would rewind back to my teen years, that would have been the main thing for me. Now, just read people's minds.
Would you guys hold on? Not the secondary question. Would you guys want to live forever?
No.
No,
Only if
I would.
If
I wanna go to heaven.
could be young and live forever. But yeah, I
Now
really
you know
don't
what
want that
what I think about when you become a parent, you always think about your kids, right? So as a parent, as a mom, I would want to live forever so my daughter would never have to feel the pain of living without me.
I mean, I feel
But then you gotta
Like,
you then you,
I feel
then you gotta go
like
through the pain of living. That's natural. That's the way life is supposed to be.
yeah.
But I
But
always
then-
feel like you. I mean, even as a kid, I know that's inevitable, right? I know it's gonna happen. But even now with my grandfather or whatever, I'm I don't know what I'm gonna do the day. Rigo, I don't know what all that was about.
Rigo be making old man noises all the time.
I've been sitting crisscross applesauce since we started filming.
Bro, you
right?
could
And
have had my legs crossed.
All right.
that's what I did. But then I have to undo them, and now it hurts. My knees hurt.
Yo, how we went from filming the teenage episode to the geriatric.
Senior citizen
It's
discount.
All down here. You check. Let me tell everyone watching. You turn 20, and it's all down here after that.
No,
It
all down
is.
here.
I'm the best health I'm in my life. Anyway.
Yo, I slept wrong. The whole right side of my body is sore.
It's done. You're done.
I don't want to live forever. I'm good.
Nah,
Take me to heaven.
Nah.
If it,
I've had
the only reason
about
I'm here
20,
is because I still got more stuff that I need to get done. But if it was up to me, I'd be chilling in heaven right now. I'd be good. You know what I'm saying?
that's what I'm saying.
I'm good.
I'd be like, beam me up, Scotty. Nah, I'm kidding. Yo, don't do it right now.
What if you drive it and whoop?
That alien. You know they found the UFO the other day. The UFO comes over, takes you. GG.
Josue.
Oh, Frank, that-
Josue.
All right, so we're gonna jump into Shady World News real quick, and I want to bring up the whole little president saying to inject themselves with disinfectant. Yeah, he definitely got his PhD, because he knows what he's talking about. And sadly, there's like 30 people. There was a post on the Shade Room that said like at least 30 people had already called in.
Yeah,
There's people in the hospital.
a viable source to say.
There's
The
there's
fact
people.
that
I mean,
because
Very viable source.
the thing is, people can say whatever they
they
want.
really are.
Why? Like it says on the bottle. It literally says, "Do not ingest in any way, shape, or form." And this has been openly said for years since commercials been released about whatever products, like whether it's bleach, disinfectant, Lysol. It says, "And please do not ingest." Like it says in the
I feel
commercial.
like he snacks on Tide Pods. Like it would make sense.
Like I feel like I'm going through this Tide Pod thing, and then why would you want? Why?
You know what
Like,
though? I had
don't taste
somebody on
good.
my Twitter.
Yo.
I'm not gonna name names, but somebody on my Twitter was like, "You never said that." I was watching it live, and we could provide clips. It's like the people that support this man really give him too much credit. Like way more credit than he deserves.
On the other side, though, like a lot of us allow those things to get us so out of character, so angry, and I think that like, I said this before. I think part of that is done on purpose. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think like that's not like. Could someone say things dumb and actually mean it? Probably, yeah. Could people do that on purpose because they know they have the power of seat of influence in order to influence people to do things? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then could they do it in order to just mess with people? Yeah.
I'm not really mad. I'm not really mad that he said that. I'm more mad that people did it. I'm just like
that's me too. Yeah.
That's me. I'm like they like because I can say whatever I want. Where I could be
It's
like, yo,
sad, though.
like humans can fly, and if you jump out of a 30-story building, you're gonna fly like right on the second floor. I can say, but then when you do that, it's like
Please don't try this,
you do not do that. Humans cannot fly. Humans cannot fly. As of yet, right?
No.
As of yet,
Unless you're Padre Pio and you got a grace and you can levitate in prayer, that's about it. You know what I mean?
right?
Gotta be praying real hard.
Unless you're in a plane, you cannot fly. Bottom line is
And he had the stigmata first, so that means he was bleeding for years.
Yeah.
So I don't think none of us want that.
So regardless of the fact, it's like, you're not supposed to drink, certain things, and why would you like? If it says on the bottle, "Do not ingest,"
But also, if people were really watching, the scientists that his little crew, they both said it after. They were like, "Please don't ingest."
Well,
any
that's the thing.
chemicals.
People take what they want to
sound
take
bites.
from what people say,
Yeah.
and they run with it. I can literally say, I can sit here and read off a whole paragraph, and you're gonna take the one part of something and be like, "Oh, Vanessa said this," and it could be completely out of context. And that's what you're gonna post on social media.
he was like,
The
"Can we
clips,
look for a way?"
Those are
to
the
do
this, that's what, and that's it.
He was like, "Can we look for a way? Maybe we could do this." And I'm like, "I see what you meant,
Yeah.
but then
But
I'm
no.
like, I don't think that's. I don't think you
Common
could do it."
sense
But this,
with a
like-
lot of people just doesn't
I'm like, I don't think-
process that.
I was like, I don't
I
think.
think this goes
Drinking
back
Clorox
to
it out.
It's like, y'all remember when that little boy died because he went into the water because he wanted to like see SpongeBob or something?
yeah.
It's like, we gotta start
He's a
having
little boy.
conversations.
These little boy. These are grown people. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
grown.
But I feel like
But-
people want to do it just to be able to blame something else on him.
Mhm.
So,
That-
like,
that could
he
be
said
too.
he said this, so let me do it. And now when I'm sick, I'm gonna be like, "Oh, you see, it was his fault." And because people do
That-
that.
And I'm like, this is why.
Should you be
Okay.
taking medical advice from a real estate
Well,
person?
here's my thought too. I think this goes back to like how do I say this? like the power that we give to celebrities as a whole. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like we take
I guarantee you, Will Smith said it.
heart, like we take things like that to heart, and it's like, yo, like these are human beings. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't.
Word.
Like I think we were doing on our Bible study on live. I don't know if this is last week or whenever that was, a couple weeks ago. And one of the lines when in John, Jesus says like, people come proclaiming themselves and you follow them. But like, you know what I'm saying? But you won't, I can't, again.
It's John 5, guys. John 5.
Boom. There you go. See, Vanessa's Bible facts.
She won it.
Yeah, like, but we do that, right? Like we would rather listen to, in fact, we get hype, even us as church people, I think it was bad. Like we get hype when we hear that celebrities are going through conversions more than when we hear people in our neighborhood going through conversions.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that. You know what I'm saying? And so I think the same applies to Trump. Like, why do we take him so much to heart? I mean, it's also the other side of like when you are, we talked about this last time in your last Shady thing. Like, there is a level of responsibility when you do have those seats to really be conscious and careful. But I mean, I don't know.
And it's like sometimes I think about that, like even with myself, because I have noticed that like in little aspects of my life, I have a certain influence over people, and like I don't think about it afterwards until I see like, wow, like you abused your power there, and it's like it's such a like a bad feeling when it does happen. Like you feel guilty, but you also feel stupid because you're like, why would I say that? Like, why would I do that? But then there's also like the good side of it where it's like, you know, you're putting people on to good things. When I feel like it's good when it comes with good intentions, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's also that quote that says the road to evil is paved with good intentions. Sometimes people have good intentions, but they're not well informed. And so you can go the wrong route too. But I think what you just said about like being conscious of who you're influencing, right? So if we're talking about the teen, who are the younger ones that you're influencing that are going to follow after you, right? And then like I even said in my own, for that young adult, for that adult, like who is the teen, who's the younger person that's modeling after you, you know? I think us as a whole, like forget president, every adult needs to like really G-check themselves, like, hey, how am I using my power of influence to move things forward in a positive right? And making sure I don't just say things off whim, but I take the time to be well informed, you know? Yeah.
And then we have that whole issue with people protesting to end the quarantine right now.
Bro.
Without masks, without following social distancing. And it's just like, you don't, like, we get it. We're all tired of being inside already. Like, trust me, if I could go outside right now, I'd love to go outside right now. It's a beautiful day. But at the end of the day, it's better for me, it's better for my family, it's better for the people I might encounter. Like, you have to understand, like, this is happening for a reason. It's not because the government wants us to be inside. It's rather to save millions of lives rather than losing millions of lives. Because then there'll be the same people to be like, oh, but now all of these people are dying. Yeah, duh, because you was out there protesting. Why we couldn't be outside?
Did you see
like,
when Cuomo? He was like, "You wanna get back to life? Go become an essential worker."
Yeah. I mean, I think that. I mean, that was real. That was real. Yeah. But
I can't wait.
I don't know what to believe.
That happened in New York.
You know what scared me when I saw a clip of these protesters? They were like so close to these police officers' faces that I swear they could. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, you're just all very still. I got so concerned. They were so close to these officers and like literally so close that I'm pretty sure they were like spitting in their mouths while they were talking. And I'm like, this is why this is happening. Like, no, none of the parties were protected.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is just gonna make everything worse.
But I
was really disappointed when New York was protesting too, because I was like, oh no, that's not the state for this. Like, it's not. Go take that to Middle America, whatever southern state, not out here.
I don't know.
We just lost mad viewers in Middle America.
Yeah, I don't know what to believe with this stuff. I'm gonna be honest with you. Did it come from bats? Did the government create it? Or you know what I'm saying? Is it like is it 5G? I don't know. All I know is I want people to stop
all those
dying.
5G, all
You know
those
what I'm
5G
saying?
rumors is clipped now for that, right? No one's talking about 5G no more.
All I know is I want people to stop dying, and I want us to like, you know what I'm saying? Find a way to move forward.
A friend pointed out to me, right, and it was very like brutal when he said this, right? It's one of my scientists. He's like, nature always has a way of trying to regulate stuff. Like nature comes out with a way. She goes, "What if this is one of those ways?"
It is.
Yeah, I've heard
I'm
that.
trying to, like naturally, because naturally, like biologically, naturally, viruses come up all the time or whatever. It's a natural bodily thing. What if like this is like one of the a time that it happened, like for example, 1918 flu, that was a regular natural occurrence. That wasn't like someone made it and released it,
But not for nothing. Like, okay, so again, back around, we live in a fallen world. This isn't Eden, and this isn't the end times when heaven and earth come back together again. There's always going to be pain. There's always going to be suffering. There's always going to be some kind of natural disaster. That's earth. That's why I don't want to live forever. That's why I want to go to heaven. You know what I'm saying? Like there's always
tired of this.
something. As much as we try to run away from it, like, no, this is just a part of being in a fallen world. And so I think the best way that we got to do it, at least for me, I'll speak for myself, is I don't want to add to the fallenness of this world. You know what I'm saying? I want to help to like bring it back up, whatever small ways that I can.
So stay home.
So, social distance.
I think we forget like the earth itself is like an organism. Like it has all of this on it, like plants, animals, humans, and like we've been polluting for years. And so obviously this is like Rigo said, it's a natural way of the earth kind of regulating itself. And so like if you have like, all the negative stuff is like the people dying, but like the positive would be like, the earth has been getting better. Like I heard in Venice that the water is clearer, pollution and like all these major cities like LA is better. Like all of these things are happening slowly but surely.
Yeah.
So
I'm pretty
like,
sure in New York City, if you go outside, you take a breath. Go. Sorry.
I was gonna say that they released pictures of the layer of the ozone, and it's healed. Like there was a big hole, and it's not there no more.
Because of the amount of carbon.
Brandon,
Well,
find the
again,
picture. Put it here.
Again, when it comes to that stuff, I don't know, man. I'm not a scientist, so I don't know if it actually made it better or not, or I don't know if that's a hoax. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. All I know is I live in a fallen world, and like things are gonna be the way it's gonna be. What I know is what's good that's come out of this is families have had the opportunity to be together. You know what I'm saying? I know that it's forced educators, church people in those to be more creative in their outreach. That's a positive thing. It's made us appreciate things that a lot of times we take for granted. To me, that's the stuff that's important. I don't mind the other stuff. I don't know.
Also, a lot of people learn new skills that can help them in the future.
Definitely.
Facts.
I just hope that at the end of all this, now that as we're wrapping up, that people remember all this stuff now, so when things do go back to normal, it doesn't go back to the crazy show of a world that we had before. Hopefully this will lead people to be a little more compassionate, a little more caring, understanding, a little more appreciative to the things that we normally take for granted.
Yeah, just more conscious.
I don't think after all of this is over, things will be like the way they used to be, like normal.
I hope
like,
not.
Yeah, this was definitely.
I hope we come
Our normal was not working.
I was just about to say that. I hope we come up with a new definition of normal, one that is a lot better for everyone.
Yeah.
Heidi, you want to pray? Can we close this out?
Yes, sir. En nombre del Padre, del Hijo, y del Espíritu Santo. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, God, for bringing us together today in any type of way that we can be together and that we can praise you. I want to pray for those who are listening to our podcast. May they find what they're looking for through our words, Lord. May you always speak through us. May we never forget that we are your instruments. And may we bring peace with our words. And with that, I want to ask our Virgencita, since it's her month to intervene. Dios te salve María, llena eres de gracia, el Señor
Gracias, Señor, es
es contigo.
contigo.
Bendita tú eres entre todas las mujeres y bendito es el fruto de tu vientre, Jesús.
Santa María, Madre,
Ay, Dios.
Ruega por
Ruega
ruega
por
por
nosotros
nosotros
pecadores,
pecadores, ahora y en la
ahora
hora
y
de
en
nuestra
nuestra
muerte.
muerte.
Amén.
All right.
Amen.
Close it out.
Episode
Ooh,
8.
loud. Let's see what's on the radio.
Heidi, wait, he said
Episode
that.
8. Episode 8. Mary number 8. Grace number 8. Yeah, despite the bumper cars and things that we go through, there's something good on the other side. Let's hope for it. Peace.
Peace.
Bye.
Now you can put on your radio.
Yeah.